if you look at the history of the deck of playing cards, there are 4 suits. We have 4 seasons in a year. There are 13 cards in every suit. There are 13 lunar cycles. If you add up all of the numerical value of all of the cards, it equals 364, and the Joker is a quarter of each suit, 365 days in a year. It gets even creepier than that, where you're like, this is not by accident, right? You can tell. The minute that you start seeing it, that deck of playing cards is not just a game. There's so much more to it.
Hello there, obedient rebels and prosperity seekers. Welcome to another episode of The Prosperity Approach. I am your obedient rebel in residence, Allyson Chavez. I'm always happy that you're here, but I do have an ask for you. Will you do me a solid? If you have not already subscribed to the podcast on YouTube, will you hit the subscribe button and the notification bell? I have a goal to get to 10,000 subs, and every little bit helps. And so you get it one person at a time, right? So help me reach my goal. And in return, I will send you some amazing energy to where you'll be able to be articulate. You will have fantastic relationships. You're going to get money from unexpected places. So I'll do you a solid. You do me a solid as well. So if you're listening to this on any platform, rate and review, but honestly, only if it's a 5-star review. I don't want crappy reviews, but the same applies for you if you will rate and review this podcast on your podcasting platform. So, and give us a 5-star. So there we go. So today I'm super, super excited for our guest because we're talking about a topic that has all to do with prosperity, the prosperity approach, but in a way that I have never had an expert on before. So Cindy Van Arnam is a numerologist, and she is the CEO and the founder of Full Blast Coaching. And that is the only way that this woman knows how to live, is in Full Blast, which is amazing and so much fun. I met her at an awards event called Trailblazers, and I was like, oh my gosh, I already love you. So I want you on my podcast. So I was like, we have to be friends now. So Cindy, thank you so much for being here. I'm so glad you're here.
Oh my gosh, I love it. We have to be friends now. That's so good. Oh my gosh. Thank you for having me.
Oh, I'm so excited to have this conversation because I look at numbers. I understand, like, if we've got repeating numbers, then there's some significance there. And like, according to some people, repeating 4s are an angel number and 3 are ascended masters. But how does that actually work to help us to be more prosperous in our lives?
Absolutely. Well, let me give you the more layman's terms for it, because the whole idea of angel numbers is a little out of my realm, because I'm a logical person and I need proof and I need the science behind it. So numbers are not this magical being that live off in the universe that come and talk to us and tell us things. Numbers are simply energetic frequencies that, if trained properly, you can pick up on and interpret the language that they're speaking to us, the energy that they're speaking to us. Mm-hmm. So they are simply wavelengths moving through our experience. And if you think about the universe and how it's created, it's a mathematical equation. So everything comes down to numbers. And if you look at any of the ancient texts, anywhere you look, there are numbers all over everything. The Bible front to back covered in numbers, yes. Right? And they're speaking to us in a very specific language. And it requires both an understanding of what that language is and our intuition to be able to interpret what it's saying. And anybody who reads the numbers is going to read them differently, which is why you can't just Google it and find out what the answer is, because it's going to be interpreted through the lens of that human's perception. Just like anything in this world, we can't even prove that anything is real, right? I can't prove the details of a car accident. I can't even tell you if the dress is pink or blue. So how we interpret the numbers is going to be different also, right? And I think that's the beauty of it, is that anybody can go and get a sense of what the numbers are speaking to you, and you can add meaning to it, because that's what we do as humans, is add meanings to our experience. Mm-hmm. My cat's trying to destroy something behind my computer right now. I did warn you of this.
Yes, you did tell me sometimes the cat jumps on my head. I'm like, oh man, I hope that happens during our podcast. That'll be the teaser. At what point does Cindy's cat jump on her head?
You get so excited when I talk about numbers. But yeah, I mean, it's not some woo-woo magical science. Yes, people add meaning to particular numbers with angel numbers and things like that. But that's just been developed over time. The numbers themselves, there are 9 in existence. Anything else is a combination of those numbers.
Oh, I love that. And can I just say, I really love that it's grounded in practicality and science, because I like to tell people God is not a sorcerer. He is a scientist. God is not a magician. He is a mathematician. And so the fact that, and nobody has ever described numbers as just energetic frequency. I really, really love that. So go on.
Sure, absolutely. So I work with 2 different systems of numerology. One of them was actually developed by the OG numerologist, Pythagoras. So Pythagoras, A squared plus B squared equals C squared. He actually is the grandfather of numerology, this practical system. And he started to recognize that there were certain energetic frequencies to these numbers. And he created what's called the energy grid. And in this energy grid, we can determine, if you're going to be particularly prone to be more frustrated, particularly prone to being more active and wanting to get stuff done all the time, or if you're somebody who likes to sit back and be more in the feminine and receiving energy. And so when we look at that energy grid, we can actually determine, similar to an astrology reading or a human design reading, what your superpowers are, what your strengths are, and how you can use those to your advantage and really harness those energies. That would be what most people would Google. What's my life path number? I call that something different, but same thing. If you Google that, you'll get some generic information, but you will never get the full energy grid and all of the magic that's in that. I always say numerology, you need to have somebody intuitive to interpret it for you, or you need to learn it yourself so that you can interpret it for yourself. The other system of numerology that I work with has been hidden for thousands and thousands of years as a game in the deck of playing cards.
Really?
Yes. So this system, if you actually look at the history of a deck of playing cards, it has been handed down through different modalities in games, poker games, bridge, all of these different games. But what we didn't know was that it was hiding what's called the Book of Truth. In the Book of Truth, they talk about in the Book of Revelations in the Bible. And I've actually gone down the rabbit hole of this. But this book, this deck of playing cards, has been handed down to us from as far back as ancient Egypt, if not further. There are many schools of thought that thinks it came from Atlantis. And it holds the answers to everything we could ever want to know about life. It's phenomenal.
In a deck of playing cards?
Yes.
So okay, you got to tell me about this rabbit hole. Yeah, keep going.
So for those of you who are watching on video, and if you're not subscribed to Allyson's YouTube channel, you need to. This is one of 99 different spreads that I read. And this holds the contract for every human being that was ever born and ever will be born. And what it does is it shows us the 13 cards that are available to us as personality, how we think, how we relate to other people, how we best take action, how we receive, how we are held accountable to our dreams and our goals, what our biggest growth opportunities are going to be. It shows all of these possibilities for us. Now, it's not a rule book. It is not you have to stick in this box and be exactly the puppet, right?
I don't imagine that actually would resonate with you at all.
There is no box. There is no box. But what it does, and this is the beauty of it, is it shows us what's possible. So for me, when I first received a numerology reading, I was very lost. I had come out of 20 years of bad decisions, including cocaine addiction and abuse, and you name it. Cindy's made that decision. And I was at the tail end of it. I was getting into the coaching industry. I was starting to understand emotional mastery. And I received this numerology reading from a woman. And I had been seeking my whole life. I read the Bible front to back, the Quran front to back, you name the religious text. I had gone down that rabbit hole seeking the answer. Why are we here? What's the point? And this numerology reading, it felt like for the first time, someone had seen me, the truth of who I am. And I felt like I had come home. It was just instantaneous. And I was like, I got to know more about this stuff. Right.
Yeah.
And it was because it showed me what I'm capable of. It wasn't, you have to do this and you have to be like this. It was, what if you tried this? What if you opened up your idea, your brain to the possibility that this could be your path? And so I started exploring that path. And sure enough, it was very accurate.
Really?
Yeah.
So what did it tell you?
Number one, it told me that I needed to be in the front end of a business. I needed to be a speaker. So at that time, my cat literally just hit the ceiling, and I have high ceilings. He came flying down from the door. Anyways, they're distracting. So what it told me at the time, I was working as a virtual assistant. So I was behind the scenes. I was the one building the websites, the sales funnels, all the techie stuff that most people on the front end don't love to do, right? That's why we hire virtual assistants.
Yes.
I hated it, but I was making decent money. So I thought, well, this is the best there is for me. And then I got this numerology reading, and it was basically like, you need to be talking a lot. And at the back of my mind, I was like, because I'd always had this dream to be a speaker, but I'd never activated the dream because I was terrified and I was making good money and it was safe here and quote unquote comfortable. It was very uncomfortable, but we'll call it the safety zone for now.
It was familiar.
Yeah, exactly. So it gave me, I guess it was like a permission slip to go and try something new, right? And so I decided, okay, I'm going to do a Facebook Live. I'm just going to do it and I'm going to see what happens. Well, I was terrified. And that Facebook Live was awful. You know, when your memories come back around on Facebook every year? Well, I recently, 4 years ago, got hacked. So that video's gone. But every year it would come back around and I would leave it there as a reminder for how far I'd come. Because what happened after I did the first one is it cracked something open in me. And I decided after that to do a Facebook Live every weekday for 4 years straight.
Whoa.
Yeah. So I'm a speaker now. I have spoken
on
international stages. I am, yes. But it wasn't the numerology that said, you're a speaker, ta-da! It didn't work that way. I had to actually activate that, right? But I wouldn't have ever thought of it if I hadn't had that numerology reading. So it gave me this like little oomph, a bit of a push to go for it. And then I practiced my craft and got really good at it.
Oh, I love that. I love that. So let's back up and talk about this book of truth rabbit hole that you went down. I saw your eyes. Whoa. Yeah. Yeah. Let's do that. Because I really love that have you ever considered this? You don't have to, but perhaps you might want to consider this as a possibility. So I'm really intrigued by the whole book of truth and the 13 cards, like all of that. Let's go there.
Talk more about it. Okay. So if you look at the history of the deck of playing cards, if you actually do the math, there are 4 suits. We have 4 seasons in a year. There are 13 cards in every suit. There are 13 lunar cycles. There are, if you add up all of the numerical value of all of the cards, it equals 364. And the Joker is a quarter of each suit, 365 days in a year.
Whoa.
It gets even creepier than that. It gets even weirder than that, where you're like, this is not by accident, right? You can tell. The minute that you start seeing it, you're like, that deck of playing cards is not just a game. There's so much more to it. So based off of your date of birth, and all I would need is your month and your day of year. With the traditional numerology, I need the year as well. But for this system, all I need is your month and your day of your date of birth. I can determine what your birth card is. It would be like your sun sign in astrology.
Okay.
And that card alone would tell me so much about you. And like, I could give you a full personality report based off of that number. So as an example, I am a 5 of diamonds in the deck of playing cards. So you know me. Don't put me in a box. I am very much the rebel. Don't tell me what to do, right? The 5 of diamonds is considered the rebel. Now, I also notice if I change or grow or evolve or change a belief system or anything, all of a sudden I'm like, I have to move all the furniture in my house. The 5 wants to move energy, and the diamond's energy is very much about physical. So I like embody that. And I didn't know this until I actually afterwards. And I was like, oh my God, I move furniture all the time.
Oh my gosh, I love this.
So if we look at the 4 suits are they line up with our seasons. So the heart's of springtime, right? It's kind of that rebirth energy, that new energy. It's very much about the self and our identity and how we relate with others. So if you carry the suit of the hearts, you're going to be somebody who loves being with people, who's very connected, who absolutely wants to build community, be a part of community, loves being in relationship, feels their feelings on a very deep level. On the disempowered side of that, you're going to be very disconnected. It's kind of the opposite, right? Kind of lonely, shut down, and not feeling into your feelings. If you're a club's energy, that's more of the summertime. You are communicating. You're out at the beach. You're playing with your people. You're sharing ideas and you're having a blast. And you're probably talking a lot. And you're probably somebody who has a lot of mental activity. So there's lots of ideas, lots of thinking, lots of brainstorming, but also maybe having a hard time with communication because you have so many ideas or you don't know how to express yourself, or you're somebody that gets overwhelmed very quickly. If you are a diamonds, you are very much about the material world. It is the fall energy. It's about the harvest. So it's about your body, your physical health, your physical environment, your bank account, your prosperity. It's also about your values. So what's most important to you? Because your actions will be directed by what's most important to you. So anybody who's there is either playing with money, playing in what I call God's playground, this 3D world that we live in, or you're worried about money, stressed out about money, trying to control money. I'm not good enough. I'm not worthy enough. Mm-hmm. And then we have the spades, which equate to winter energy, very much that hibernation, the spiritual, I'm going within, but it's also very career focused. So the spades energy can be very ambitious to the detriment of their own well-being if they are not also bringing their spirituality into their work, if they're not bringing that inner connection into their work. Mm-hmm. So I've seen spades who are burnt out, exhausted, hustling, just go, 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 because they don't have that intuitive connection involved in their work. But I've also seen spades who are very connected, who are making a crap load of money and loving everything they do and creating massive impact. So depending on when you were born during the year and the way that it lines up, it's not that everybody born in the winter is a spade. It kind of mixes and matches. So you'd have to have somebody calculate that for you.
Really?
Yeah.
That is fascinating.
That's only the surface of what's possible with this system.
My gosh. So which one do you like better? Do you like the traditional numerology system, or do you like the one, or is it kind of 6 in one hand, half a dozen of the other?
I love that question because I think, I've kind of gone both ways, both directions, but because I work with both, it's now become this, it needs to be both. Mm-hmm. Because the deck of playing cards, we also look at the number of the card, right? It's not just the suit. Mm-hmm. And the traditional system kind of melds into that with the numbers. So we can look at, where that 5 of diamonds energy, myself, where that 5 sits in the energy grid and what that means. So we can layer a lot of those things together.
Oh, wow. Wow. Okay. So can you pull up my chart? Or
I sure can.
My numbers and see, let's see how close you really are. Because I'm like, I sense this one. Oh, maybe that one though. So let's see if this is baloney or not.
You're gonna have to give me your month and day of birth.
It's 6/28.
June 28th. All right.
June 28th. Yeah, everybody remember that. June 28th.
So you're a 2 of clubs.
2 of clubs.
So the 2 of clubs is someone who is always in decision mode, but oftentimes it almost feels a little bit like I'm stuck between a rock and a hard place. I don't know what decision to make. And so you likely have to verbally process in order to make that decision, whether that's voice noting on your phone or talking it out with a friend or, sharing with a mentor to be able to work through what's the best decision to take. The Two of Clubs is also someone who likely has in the past experienced deep fear, perhaps of spirituality, maybe not. It could be something else, but it's very much like I've either decided that I'm going to follow my intuition and trust my instincts and go in that direction because I'm being led by that inner fire, or I'm going to hide in fear and I'm going to hide behind mommy and daddy skirts because I'm terrified to move forward. How are we doing so far?
Okay. The fear and choosing into the intuition, spot on. Spot on with that. Yes, definitely felt deep fear. Verbal processing to make decisions. Well, I think I talk out loud to myself a lot.
There you go.
And yeah, I always am indecision. Like, what am I going to wear today? I have too many clothes. And I don't have too many clothes. Let's just be clear. It's not like I have 300 pairs of shoes, like some girl I know. Not you, but somebody else. But it's like, oh, do I want the yellow? Do I want the green? Oh, what am I in the mood for? So yeah, I do. I am in constant decision-making mode. Yeah.
Yeah. So it would make sense that you would always be in your mind and wanting to and talk to yourself, right? Like there's nothing wrong with that, right? A lot of people say you're crazy if you talk to yourself, but it actually supports you because it helps you to verbally process it, right? It doesn't matter how you do that. The other thing with the Two of Clubs, if I kind of dive into some of the deeper nuances, because I said you have 13 cards. It's not just that Two of Clubs, right? Mm-hmm. And I will also not layering in the Pythagorean numerology because depending on what your ruling number is, that's going to change everything here too. So if I were to look at just the Two of Clubs energy, your mind is probably wired for leadership in some way, shape, or form. You were likely raised to be a leader. And in your younger years, that was just formulated for you to just show up and you have these thoughts and these beliefs that you want to share with the world. Now, I know that to be true of you because I've met you. Yes. But I don't know much of your childhood. I don't know much of your upbringing, but that would have been the influence that came into your world between the ages of 0 and 13, where you were either taught to share your opinions, to share your thoughts, to share your beliefs with the world, or you shut them down because your environment didn't support that. What was that like for you?
My environment didn't really support sharing opinions if they differed from the collective. But I did grow up and still a member of the faith religion that is all about leadership and opportunities to serve and opportunities to speak in public and, talk in front of the congregation. So leading youth groups and all of that. So yeah, I see both of it. Yeah. And I mean, there's a little bit of rebel in me too, which is why I'm the obedient rebel. But I do remember sharing my opinion, even though it was not appreciated to people. Like when it irritated me enough, I'm like, we're done. We're done with this.
I can see that. The other thing that stands out to me in your chart, and I'm not going to give you your full reading, right?
Right.
The other thing that stands out to me is you talk about, your show is called The Prosperity Approach. You talk about prosperity and your Venus card. So there's a card in your chart that is ruled by the planet of Venus. Venus is all about relationship, how you relate to yourself, your connection to yourself, and how you relate to the world. It's the salesman's card. It's all about the opportunity for abundance and prosperity.
Oh man. So it's like the title chose me. The Prosperity Approach. I was just like, I came up with it years ago, 13 years ago. I don't know, maybe not quite that long, but I was like, ooh, I really like that.
That
feels yummy.
There you go. There you go. Yes. So one of the numerologists' kind of motto is, and we've actually had t-shirts made of this. I don't wear it anymore, but you can't make this up. Because almost every time that I do, even something like this is off the cuff. I don't know you very well. I don't have a lot of context. Every single time, both myself and the person I'm reading for are like, wait, what? how did that happen? Right. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I love that. And this is why I asked you, not because I wanted a free reading, but I was like, I've never done numerology, and I was actually conditioned and taught not to play with playing cards, that they were like devilish.
Yeah.
Because gambling's wrong, and that's a whole other thing. But I didn't grow up with playing cards or a deck of cards in my house, and so and numerology. So that's why I was really super intrigued by this. Like, oh yeah, that is actually pretty spot on,
I
and
love it. I love it.
and
And
validating.
it's interesting that you bring that up, that it's, depending on your household, that it wasn't allowed or it's considered a divination tool.
Mhm.
We see this with tarot cards, oracle cards, crystals, all sorts of things are considered divination tools. And I actually call a kibosh on anything divination. I actually don't think that that's something that we do, because we're human beings. We have filters through which we view the world. We have perceptions through which we view the world. And if anybody is out there saying, I can tell you the future, I call bull. It's not true. I do something with this particular system of what's forecasting, but it's not predicting the future. It's energetic forecasting. Just like we can predict the weather, we can predict the energies that we'll be experiencing. But that's not to say, okay, so this is going to be happening next week, so you shouldn't go do this, right? Because your ideal lover isn't going to show up today, right? It's about, hey, we're going to be experiencing this kind of energetic weather. This might be how you might feel. What will you choose to do with it? And that to me is the difference right there, because we have free will. And humans aren't at the whim of their numerology, their astrology, their human design, or anything else. We get to decide what we do with the information and what meaning we give that. And so when I do my forecasting, I'm very clear. I'm not telling the future here. I'm just saying, here's the weather forecast. What do you want to do with it?
And I really appreciate that. So somebody needed to hear that whole thing about divination, not just me, because there's this whole stigma all over the world, all over different communities and religions about like, no, and this is sorcery and all of that. And is there dark energy? Yes, of course there is. There's also, because there's opposites of everything. But I really do appreciate that it's like, this is information and I can choose what to do with this information, because I still have that freedom of choice. And how am I going to let this affect me? Am I going to let it affect me at all? There's somebody that needs to hear this though. You were talking about the money. So the 5 of diamonds, which is what one of your cards is. Where it's the material plane and it's playing with money and all of those things right now, where everybody, like, there's this mass psychosis going on of not enough and the price of eggs and like all of those things. And people are like, this is real and this is life and death. And I'm like, I know it appears that way, but like, can we and I don't want to dismiss that or discount that, because like I can feel the fear, like I can feel people's fear for sure with that. So if somebody has the 5 of diamonds, or somebody is in that material world, how do they like navigate through these kinds of topsy-turvy circumstances?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, first of all, I don't want to discount that either, because the fear is real, right? And what I'm going to suggest is that everybody's going to have at least one of the suits in their chart. So like I said, you have 13 cards. So even a person who's dominantly diamonds is going to have other cards, which means that all people are going to have a diamonds in there that either gets them excited about money and prosperity or has them worried about it, depending on how they look at it. So what I'm going to suggest is anybody out there who's concerned about the financial situation, who's worried, who's feeling that fear, is that it's all in how you look at your current reality. Everything is perception. And what your current reality is showing to you is actually evidence of a past manifestation. It's not what you're currently creating. What you're currently creating for your reality doesn't exist yet. You can't see it. You can't see it with the naked eye. You can't touch it and you can't feel it, which is why your brain goes, oh my God, this is what I see. This must be real. But that's not real. It's already falling apart. And so your job as a human being, should you choose to accept it, is to look at what you're creating. Don't worry about what's falling apart. don't pay attention to mainstream media, and simply ask yourself, what am I creating? What am I choosing to focus on? Well, I choose to focus on the abundance and bliss that I already have that's right in front of me, and to express gratitude for all of that, and then focus on what I'm doing next. So, and you can do this. All you have to do is go outside into nature and you'll see it immediately.
Yes. Yes. Especially at this time, at the time of this recording, we're in springtime, and I'm like, I can't count the blossoms, can't count the leaves even on a branch. Like
Exactly.
we are surrounded by it and surrounded by that support.
And if you are somebody who has the ability to listen to a podcast, you have blessings in your life. Count them.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for that. Oh my gosh, Cindy, I could keep you here for days, but I'm not gonna, because everybody's gonna want to know, like, all right, how do I work with you? How do I connect with you? So tell us all of the good things. You have a possibilities playground too. I want to hear about that.
Yes. Yes. So the Possibility Playground is the place where you come for the energy forecast. So what I do is I drop daily messages in there. It is for the online coach, healer, mentor, someone who's building an online business to understand what's currently occurring in our quote unquote weather, so that you can then harness that and use it to your advantage in your business. So I drop in daily messages about what the energy is going to be like, what we might be experiencing, and the possibilities that are available. And I also share weekly content prompts in there for those of you who struggle with content. It's literally lined up with the energy, and you can actually, some of it, you can just copy and paste it if you just are too busy to post that day. So I get a lot of people in my group, in my membership, who are like, this is better than the actual weather forecast because it's way more accurate.
Oh, yeah. I love that. I love that. Okay, what's the link for that? And we'll make sure you put it in the show as well.
So anything that you want to find out about me will be on my website, fullblastcoaching.com. And if you forget that, just Google my name. You'll find me everywhere.
Cindy Van Arnam. Yes, I love that. Oh, Cindy, this has been so helpful and quite healing, actually. And I'm surprised by that. But why would I be surprised by that? Healing comes about in lots of different ways. And this was just like through numbers even and symbols. So thank you so much. Everybody go to fullblastcoaching.com and check out the Possibility Playground. Check out what it looks like to work with Cindy, the other things that she has. In fact, you have a podcast, and I'm going to be on your podcast. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yes. So the Life of Full Blast podcast has actually been airing for almost 6 years now with weekly episodes. Like I said, I like to talk. So that actually started out as Rebel Radio, the Rebel thing. It's no wonder you and I were meant to meet.
Right.
But then it switched to Life at Full Blast. And it's actually, you're going to be the last guest because I'm putting it on hiatus. So
really? Wow.
We'll see if I bring it back. It might come back with a rebrand, but right now it feels complete. So it's time for it to morph into something else. Yeah.
Oh, that's beautiful.
And that's the first time I've actually publicly said that. So there you go.
Wow. What an honor. What an honor to be on this before it goes on hiatus. So thank you. Thank you.
My pleasure.
Everybody, thank you so much for listening, for tuning in, for all the things. Cindy, once again, we're so honored that you were here and played with me today. This was such a fun conversation. And until next time, remember, prosperity becomes you. Bye-bye.